intelligent zebraoids were having brunch at a fine cafe in New Paris. One asked, "Remember when humans were so ugly?" The other said, "Yes, it took us 100 generations of captive breeding to get them to look normal."
I'm Bill Lee, and I'll be discussing how long will civilization last. I mean our civilization, not zebroids. And if you think I have all the answers, you're seriously deluded. However, let's get into it. Let me define the term self-perpetuation. Complex structures usually degenerate over time. For example, if you make a nicely detailed plaster of Paris sculpture, don't expect it to look the same a million years from now. Even the transistors in integrated circuits will degenerate over periods of decades or centuries due to diffusion. However, certain types of complex structures, like life, can resist this degeneration. Living structures do so by making new copies of themselves, also by self-repairing, and by doing what you might call self-improvement, although Darwin had another name for that. I call this ability to maintain complexity over the eons self-perpetuation. How long can this self-perpetuation last? Some species of cyanobacteria are essentially unchanged from a few billion years ago. That fact alone is proof of concept that it's possible, within the laws of physics, that matter can be organized into complex forms that continue to exist, one way or another, for billions of years, despite the tendency toward disorder. In addition to maintaining the same form, we know that other lineages have changed over time, in the sense of becoming more complex and having more moving parts, eventually becoming ants and blue whales, and these guys, who are right on the very verge of creating a self-perpetuating technology. Can machines self-perpetuate? This is Mr. Lappy. Mr. Lappy, go find some electricity. Go on, scat. Oh, you big silly. I always have to help you with your electricity. Mr. Lappy could never survive by himself in the woods. Even if he had solar cells for power, those cells would eventually degenerate, and he has no way of mining silicon or fabricating new cells, to say nothing about the diffusion his transistors will undergo. He can't even copy or fix himself. Therefore, he's not able to self-perpetuate in any sense, even though he's way better than me at math. Technology and manufacturing is a huge interconnected economic system. It's run by humans, but most of the hard work is now done by machines. What I mean by that is that when integrated circuits are fabricated, we don't have trained artisan humans chiseling the patterns into silicon. Rather, very precise robots do this with X-rays. Right now, humans do some of the important things like fixing glitches or figuring out where to drill for oil. These are things that machines will probably be able to do for themselves soon. Then the technology of Earth would be able to run itself and even improve itself for a very long time. Remember the example of cyanobacteria? Let's talk about the meaning of the term civilization. Suppose everything goes peachy keen for us humans. Does this mean that 1,000 years from now, everyone should be driving themselves to work while listening to LL Cool J on their Sirius radio? Well, no, not exactly. I don't think the world works like a Futurama episode. If everything goes as well as expected and there's no megavirus that wipes out everybody or something else like that, we personally will be dead 1,000 years from now, and our distant descendants will be kicking around somewhere and doing some things that we have no idea what they are. Now, who cares whether these distant descendants are synthetic or DNA-based? Either way, we in the present helped make them, so they are a continuation of our civilization. When and if the technology of Earth becomes a giant self-perpetuating entity, subsequent miniaturization will allow smaller and smaller entities to self-perpetuate. In other words, going from big to small. Ironically, this is the opposite of how life on Earth evolved, which started from small cells to big whales. Eventually, small machines could be created that mine and manufacture everything they need, potentially even recreating all the Earth technology, provided that such a small machine is given enough time and a big asteroid to mine. There's no theoretical reason why this small machine couldn't self-perpetuate indefinitely. Let's call this little critter a synthetic being. How long will civilization last? Pessimists say we're likely to kill ourselves within a few hundred years. However, suppose we exist long enough that Earth technology becomes self-perpetuating. Then suppose synthetic beings start moving out off the Earth and set up shop on asteroids or start traveling into interstellar space. What could possibly wipe them out? The only thing I can think of is other machines coming from Earth to track them down and eat them, and then those machines would subsequently have to self-destruct, although I'm not exactly sure what the motivation for that would be. However, if even one of these synthetic beings managed to escape to a distant chunk of rock near a star, it could recreate a civilization that's a direct descendant of our civilization. How long will civilization last? Perhaps a very long time, if we can just hold on for a few more decades. Your mission is to make sure we hold on by pushing that subscribe button. We don't want anything bad happening, do we? Oh yeah, you can also do the thumbs up and comments. It's up to you. How charitable are you?